What happens when a duchess walks onto
That's
a
so
morning
true.
show
It's all about
expecting
timing.
royal treatment,
Exactly.
but gets
nailed it.
real questions
You
instead?
have to be ready to
In
pivot.
just 38
That's so
seconds,
true. It's all about
one
timing.
comment would turn a
Exactly.
simple
You
interview
nailed it.
into the most
You have to be
explosive
ready to
morning
pivot.
television moment
That's so
of the
true.
year.
It's all about timing.
Good Morning
Exactly.
America's
You nailed
studio
it.
was buzzing
You
with the
have to be
usual
ready
energy.
to pivot.
The cameras
That's
were
so
ready.
true. It's all
the
about
lights
timing.
were perfect.
Exactly.
And
You
Michael
nailed it.
Strahan sat in his
You have
chair
to be
with
ready
that
to
warm,
pivot.
welcoming
That's
smile.
so true. It's
he's
all
known
about
for.
timing.
Exactly.
Today's guest
You
was
nailed
someone who
You
always
have
brought
to be
attention.
ready to pivot.
Meghan Markle.
That's so true. It's
The
all about
producers were
timing.
excited.
Exactly. You
This was
nailed it.
going to be big.
You have to be ready
Michael
to
stood
pivot.
up as
That's
Meghan
so
walked
true.
onto
It's
the
all
set.
about timing.
She moved
Exactly.
slowly.
You nailed it.
Her expression
You
serious.
have to be ready to
almost
pivot.
cold.
That's so
There
true.
was
It's
no
all about
wave to the
timing.
audience.
Exactly.
No
You nailed it.
smile. Just
You
a
have to
stiff
be
nod
ready
as
to
she sat
pivot.
down across
That's
from him.
so true. It's all about timing.
Welcome to Good
Exactly.
Morning America.
You nailed it.
Michael said.
You have
his
to be
voice
ready
friendly
to
and
pivot.
genuine.
That's so
Thanks
true. It's
so
all
much
about
for being here
timing.
with us this
Exactly. You nailed it.
morning. Meghan
You
barely
have
looked
to
at
be
him.
ready to pivot.
Thank you for
That's
having
so
me.
true. It's all about timing.
The audience
Exactly.
could feel it.
You nailed it.
Already.
You have to be
Something
ready
was
to
off.
pivot.
That's
Michael,
so true. It's
ever
all
the
about
professional,
timing.
pushed
Exactly.
forward.
You nailed it.
So,
You have to
let's
be
dive
ready
right
to
in.
pivot.
You've been
That's
away
so
from
true.
the public
It's all
eye
about
for a little
timing.
while now.
Exactly.
What have you
nailed
been
it.
working on?
You have to be ready
Meghan
to
shifted
pivot.
in her seat.
That's so true. It's all
Well,
about timing.
Michael, I've been
Exactly.
focusing
You
on
nailed
projects that actually matter. Things that make a real difference. Not just the superficial content that fills most of television these days. Michael's smile didn't fade, but his eyes registered the comment. The crew exchanged glances. Did she just insult the show she was sitting on? That's great, Michael said smoothly. And what kind of projects are we talking about? Projects that elevate voices that aren't normally heard, Meghan replied, her tone growing sharper. Projects that challenge the system instead of just accepting it. That sounds important, Michael said. Can you give us some specifics? What are you working on right now that our viewers might be interested in? Meghan let out a small laugh, but there was no humor in it. Michael, I don't think your viewers would understand the kind of work I'm doing. It's quite complex. The audience went quiet. Michael maintained his composure, but you could see the shift in his posture. He sat up a little straighter. Well, I think our viewers are pretty smart, he said calmly. They might surprise you. Why don't you try us? I'd rather not waste my time explaining things that require a certain level of awareness to appreciate, Meghan said, looking away from him toward the camera. Michael nodded slowly. This was getting uncomfortable, but he wasn't backing down. Okay, let's switch gears then, he said. You've talked before about your experience with the media and how you felt you were treated unfairly. Do you think you bear any responsibility for how some of those situations played out? Meghan's head snapped toward him. Excuse me? I'm just asking if you think there's ever been a moment where you could have handled something differently, Michael clarified, his voice still even and respectful. Are you seriously asking me that? Meghan's voice rose slightly. After everything I went through, after all the attacks, the lies, the racism, you're asking if I'm responsible? I'm asking if there's any room for self-reflection, Michael said carefully. It's a question I'd ask anyone. No, Michael, you wouldn't ask anyone that question. You're asking me because you think you can. You think you can sit there and question me like I'm on trial. The studio had gone completely silent. Even the camera operators had stopped moving. That's not what I'm doing, Michael said, his voice firm but still respectful. I'm doing an interview. That means asking questions, sometimes tough ones. That's my job. Your job, Meghan repeated, her voice dripping with contempt. Your job is to sit there and make people like me feel small so that people watching at home feel better about themselves. That's not fair, Michael said, and for the first time, there was an edge to his voice. Not anger, but something closer to disappointment. I've been doing this for years, and I've never tried to make anyone feel small. I treat everyone who sits in that chair with respect. Respect? Meghan laughed again, louder this time. You call this respect? I call this a conversation, Michael replied. And I think if you look back at what I've actually said, you'll see I haven't been disrespectful at all. Meghan stood up suddenly, the microphone still clipped to her jacket. I don't have to listen to this. Michael remained seated, calm. You're absolutely right, you don't. But I do think our viewers deserve to hear real answers, not just talking points. Real answers? Meghan's voice was getting louder. You want real answers? Here's a real answer. This show, this network, all of you are part of the problem. You sit here pretending to care about important issues, but all you want is drama and clicks. We want honest conversations, Michael said, standing now too, but his body language was open, non-threatening. And I think you know that. Honest? Meghan shot back. There's nothing honest about this. You invited me here to ambush me with gotcha questions. I asked you about your projects and about self-reflection, Michael said, his voice steady. Those aren't gotcha questions. Those are normal interview questions. Normal for who? Meghan demanded. You don't ask other guests these kinds of questions. Actually, I do, Michael said. I've asked politicians, athletes, actors, everyone tough questions. That's what journalism is. Meghan pointed at him. Don't you dare lecture me about journalism. I know exactly what this is. This is you trying to tear me down because you can't handle a strong woman who speaks her mind. Michael's expression shifted. He looked almost sad. This has nothing to do with you being a woman. This has to do with you being a guest who won't. Answer straightforward questions. I don't owe you answers, Meghan said. You're right, you don't, Michael agreed. But you came on this show, so I assumed you wanted to have a conversation. Not this conversation, Meghan said, reaching for her microphone to remove it. A producer rushed onto the set, trying to calm things down, but Meghan waved her away. I'm done here, Meghan announced to everyone. Michael watched her, his expression unreadable. I'm sorry you feel that way. Of course you are, Meghan said sarcastically. You're sorry it didn't go the way you wanted. You're sorry you didn't get your viral moment. Actually, Michael said quietly, I'm sorry because I think we could have had a really good conversation if you'd been willing to have it. That seemed to make Meghan even angrier. You think very highly of yourself, don't you? I think highly of good conversation, Michael said. And I think people are smart enough to have nuanced discussions about difficult topics. People like you have no idea what it's like, Meghan said, her voice shaking now, whether from anger or something else. It was hard to tell. You sit in your comfortable chair with your comfortable life, and you judge people like me. I'm not judging you, Michael said, and his voice was gentle now. I'm just trying to understand you. You'll never understand me, Meghan shot back. Maybe not, Michael admitted. But I'd like to try. That's why you're here, isn't it? To be understood. Meghan stared at him for a long moment. The entire studio was holding its breath. No, she finally said. I'm here because my publicist said it would be good for my image. But this, she gestured around the studio, this is exactly why I don't trust the media. The media isn't one thing, Michael said. We're all just people trying to do our jobs. Well, do your job without me, Meghan said, finally getting her microphone off and dropping it onto the chair. I respect your decision, Michael said, and he meant it. His voice carried no sarcasm, no anger, just acceptance. Meghan looked like she wanted to say something else, but instead she just shook her head and started walking off the set. Meghan, Michael called after her. She stopped but didn't turn around. I hope you find what you're looking for, he said simply. She didn't respond. She just kept walking until she disappeared behind the cameras and into the hallway beyond. Michael stood there for a moment, then turned to face the camera. The studio was still silent. Everyone was in shock. Well, Michael said, and somehow he managed a small smile. That didn't go as planned. There was nervous laughter from the crew. Michael sat back down in his chair. You know, this job, he continued, talking directly to the camera now, it's about having conversations. Sometimes those conversations are easy and fun. Sometimes they're challenging. And sometimes they don't happen at all. He paused, choosing his words carefully. I want to be clear about something. I have nothing but respect for everyone who sits in that chair, including Meghan. My job is to ask questions, to dig a little deeper, to try to get past the surface. That's what I signed up for, and that's what I'll keep doing. The camera pushed in closer on his face. Sometimes people don't like the questions. That's okay. That's their right. But I also have a responsibility to you, the viewers, to not just accept everything at face value, to push a little, to ask why, to seek understanding. Michael leaned back in his chair. I don't think I asked anything unfair this morning. I asked about projects, about reflection, about responsibility. Those are questions I'd ask anyone, and I think they're questions worth asking. He glanced toward where Meghan had exited. I'm sorry it ended the way it did. I really am. Because I think there was a real conversation to be had there. About pressure, about expectations, about the difficulty of living in the public eye. Those are important topics. Michael looked back at the camera. But you can't force a conversation. It takes two people willing to engage, willing to be a little uncomfortable, willing to be honest. And when that doesn't happen, well, you saw what happens. The producers were signaling to him, probably telling him to wrap it up, but Michael wasn't finished. I want to say something to anyone watching who's been in a difficult situation, who's felt attacked, who's felt misunderstood. I see you. Those feelings are real and valid. But I also think it's worth asking ourselves, are we willing to engage with people who might challenge us? Are we willing to have hard conversations? Are we willing to consider that maybe, just maybe, we don't have all the answers? He smiled, a real smile this time. I don't have all the answers either, but I'm willing to keep asking questions. That's all any of us can do. Michael looked, down at his notes, then back up at the camera. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got a great cooking segment that I promise will be a lot less dramatic. The audience laughed, the tension finally breaking. Stay with us, Michael said, and the camera faded out. Backstage, the hallway was chaos. Producers were on their phones, assistants were running around, and somewhere in the middle of it all was Meghan, surrounded by her team. We're leaving, she was saying to anyone who would listen. Get the car. We're leaving right now. Her publicist was trying to calm her down. Meghan, let's just take a breath and think about this. Think about what? Meghan snapped. Think about how I just got ambushed on national television? No, we're done here. It wasn't an ambush, her publicist said quietly. He asked standard questions. Meghan whirled on her. Whose side are you on? I'm on your side, the publicist said firmly, which is why I'm telling you. That walking out like that wasn't the best move. I don't care, Meghan said. I'm not going to sit there and be disrespected. He was respectful, another member of her team chimed in, then immediately regretted it when Meghan's glare landed on them. Really? That's what you think? I think, the team member said carefully, that maybe you came in expecting a fight. I came in expecting to be treated with basic human decency, Meghan said. And you were, her publicist said. Meghan, I've been in this business a long time. What happened in there, that was a normal interview that went off the rails. Because of him, Meghan insisted. Was it though? Her publicist asked. Because from where I was standing, he stayed calm and professional the entire time. Meghan's eyes filled with tears, but they were angry tears. You don't understand what it's like. None of you do. Then help us understand, her publicist said gently. Talk to us. But walking out, refusing to engage, that's not helping anyone, especially not you. I don't need help, Meghan said. I need people who support me. We do support you, her publicist said, but support doesn't mean agreeing with everything you do. Meghan grabbed her bag from an assistant. Where's the car? It's coming, the assistant said nervously. Well, tell them to hurry up, Meghan demanded. Back in the studio, Michael was talking to his producers during the commercial break. That was intense, one of them said. Yeah, Michael agreed. You handled it well, another producer said. Michael shrugged. I just tried to be honest. Do you think you pushed too hard? Someone asked. Michael thought about it. No. I think I asked fair questions. Maybe she wasn't ready to answer them, and that's okay, but I don't think I did anything wrong. The network is going to want a statement, a producer said. Let them write whatever they want, Michael said. I said what I needed to say on camera. This is going to be everywhere, another producer warned. Probably, Michael said. But that's not why I did this job. I didn't come here to avoid tough moments. I came here to have real conversations. Not everyone sees it that way, the producer said. I know, Michael said, but I can't control how other people see things. I can only control how I show up. The commercial break was ending. Michael took a sip of water and straightened his tie. Ready? Someone asked. Always, Michael said. The camera came back on, and Michael was all smiles again, moving seamlessly into the cooking segment like nothing had happened. That's what professionals do. They keep going. Outside the studio, Meghan's car finally arrived. She climbed in without a word to anyone, her team scrambling to follow. As the car pulled away, she looked back at the building one last time. Inside her head, she was already crafting the narrative. How she'd been attacked. How she'd been disrespected. How she'd stood up for herself. But somewhere, deep down, in a place she wasn't quite ready to examine, there was a small voice asking if maybe, just maybe, she'd gotten it wrong. She pushed that voice away. The car drove off into the city, leaving Good Morning America behind. Back in the studio, Michael finished the cooking segment, thanked the chef, and smiled at the camera. That's all we have time for today, he said. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. The camera faded out, and Michael let out a long breath. Good show, a producer said, somewhat sarcastically given what had happened. Michael laughed. Well, it was definitely a show. He stood up, stretched, and headed to his dressing room. There would be calls to make, statements to review, probably some damage control. But right now, he just wanted a moment of quiet. In his dressing room, he sat down and looked at himself in the mirror. Had he handled it right? Could he have done something differently? He replayed the conversation in his head. His questions had been fair. His tone had been respectful. He'd given her every opportunity to engage. Sometimes, he thought, you do everything right and it still goes wrong. That's just life. He changed out of his suit and into more comfortable clothes. Tomorrow would be another day, another show, another chance to have conversations that mattered. That's all he could do. Show up, be honest, ask questions, and trust that the truth would find its way through. As he left the building, he saw a crowd of people gathering outside, probably having heard what happened. Some were there to support him, some to criticize. That's how it always was. He didn't stop to talk to anyone. He just walked to his car, got in, and drove home. The morning had been dramatic, unexpected, and uncomfortable. But Michael Strahan had done what he always did. He'd shown up as himself, asked honest questions, and treated everyone with respect. What happened after that was out of his control, and he was okay with that. Because at the end of the day, all any of us can do is be true to who we are and what we believe in. Michael believed in good conversation, honest questions, and treating people with dignity, even when they didn't return the favor, especially then. That's what separated the professionals from everyone else. The ability to stay steady when everything around you is chaos. Michael had that ability, and he'd proven it again today. As he drove home through the city streets, he thought about what he'd say tomorrow if anyone asked him about it.